The 1960s, 1970s were a much different period than the present era. We had a lot of sort of pent-up energy coming out of the button-down 1950s, man in a gray flannel suit, get a corporate job, help your country prepare for the next war, whatever that might be. And there was a lot of pent-up energy, and it was against the Vietnam War. It was in favor of the civil rights of minorities and all peoples. There was women's rights and the rights of blacks, the rights of Native Americans. All of these were protest movements of the time. Nuclear disarmament, anti-nuclear, anti-war. And so that was a fuel that gave impetus to a larger cultural shift that was going on in the 1960s. And it was a counterculture. It was setting an example of how we could live in a way that wouldn't have war, that wouldn't have the kind of exploitation of humans and degradation of the environment that seemed built into the system at that point in time. So it was a rebellion against the system, but it was also a quest for alternatives. That's what the 60s was about. Well, now we have a quest for alternatives that's pretty urgent because nobody paid attention to any of the experiments that were going on back in the 60s. And so now we find ourselves in a situation where the world is quickly going towards a overshoot of carrying capacity. We've exceeded the ability of the planet to care for us because we've ruined so many of her natural systems by overpopulating and overpolluting and not looking at the whole cycle, how things move in ecosystems. And so without that understanding, we've made a big mess of things, and we have an urgent need to change. And so today, what's more likely to occur in places like the farm is interest by scientists, historians, sociologists, ecologists, people who want to see what was that 30, 40-year experiment like? How did it play out? Can it be replicated? Can it be mainstream? Can it be enlarged? Can it be scaled up? And that's the kind of thing that we're engaged in more today, is looking at how do we interface with a future that is a period of rapid, unprecedented change. And can we have something to contribute to that emerging conversation?
We moved here from Kentucky and found out about this place on Facebook, and we've been here ever since. Don't really plan on leaving anytime soon.
I was born here in 1963, went to high school here, went to grade school here, graduated in 1981. I'm 51 years old. I'm happy as I've ever been. That's pretty much, I was a truck driver for 20-something years.
And I think the change that we're seeing now is that young people are once again interested in this kind of thing. There was a period there in the 80s and 90s where people were going to business school and learning to be corporate thieves and create greater Ponzi schemes. Well, that's changed. And there's a lot of young people now who come here wondering, can they do something like this?
The whole purpose of the community is to be able to become self-sufficient while helping our community and while being able-bodied enough to be able to help with disaster relief and different things. Grown up food that we can support the food pantry in town while feeding ourselves.
We got a well. We don't have electricity much, you know. We don't use a lot of electricity, but I mean, look, the place is clean, it's orderly, it's neat. We cook breakfast for each other, we cook lunch for each other, we cook dinner for each other, and it's everything here doesn't belong to anybody.
There's so many people here who love each other and consider everyone here family. So it's just, it's awesome, and we're spreading out to the community and letting people know that we're out here and that we grow organic food.
We most of us here believe that food should be free, that it should be a human right. And so we're only asking for people to pay that can. You know, like, if you can help us out with donations, that'd be really cool, but food's free. We cook for people. We like to feed people. Everybody should eat.
Get to know people. Don't judge people because they might not dress like you. They may not have the same religion as you. They might not have the same job classification as you. Just take time and get to know people of different cultures. And you learn more that way than I think by looking in any book. And that's pretty much my philosophy. And it's raining. I love this. Ain't this cool?